The galaxy learned of the slaughter before Earth did. News spread like a shockwave rolling through the void. Cold, clinical numbers recited without trembling. 99 million humans erased in 8 minutes. To most alien empires, it was a tragedy of scale. To the offenders, it was a demonstration of dominance. But to humanity, it was the moment the sky went silent and something ancient stirred beneath it, like a sleeping apex predator realizing it had been bitten. The galactic concord gathered in its alabaster chamber, rays of distant starlight glinting off polished silver floors. Representatives of dozens of species murmured, hissed, croaked, vibrated, and blinked their reactions. Some were smug, others uneasy, and a few were entirely too casual about the fallout of mass death. Their whispers carried across the dome like static, layered with arrogance and ignorance. "They'll mourn then beg," rasped a Zelkan admiral, his mandibles tapping in a rhythm of self-satisfaction. "Humans understand submission when properly encouraged." A feathery Seraphel diplomat fluttered her wings in agreement. "Certainly. They're emotionally volatile creatures. So fragile. So breakable." A few wiser species exchanged uneasy glances but remained silent. After all, the humans had not responded yet. And silence, to most alien minds, meant fear. Then the main doors parted with a soft, whispering hiss. Two humans stepped inside. General Marcus Hale and General Aurora Wynne entered as if summoned by destiny rather than diplomacy. Their boots echoed with a steady cadence that contrasted sharply with the speculating chaos inside the chamber. Both walked with the quiet confidence of people who held their own gravity. Their faces were calm, too calm for leaders whose people had been massacred. Marcus carried himself like a man shaped by battlefields, but refined by restraint. His dark hair was neat, his posture relaxed but precise. His eyes, however, held a watchfulness that made even hardened warlords shift uncomfortably, as though he were taking stock of every weakness in the room. Aurora walked half a step behind him, hands folded as though attending a polite afternoon meeting, not a post-genocide crisis. Slender, composed, and deceptively soft-spoken, she radiated a quiet intensity that coiled beneath her gentleness. She smiled faintly, the kind of smile that made some species instinctively check their escape routes. Together, they were the calm before every storm humanity had ever unleashed. The Concord speaker, a towering, translucent being whose skin shimmered like fog trapped in crystal, drifted forward. "Representatives Hale and Wynne of Earth," it intoned. "Our condolences for your losses. We trust you understand the necessity of the defensive action taken against your colonies." Marcus nodded politely. "Of course. Nothing says defense quite like orbital bombardment of unarmed civilians." His voice remained friendly, almost casual, as though discussing weather patterns instead of genocide. A few aliens bristled at the tone. Others chuckled nervously, unsure if he was being passive-aggressive or simply human. The uncertainty made them uneasy. Aurora spoke softly, almost apologetically, which somehow made her words even more unsettling. "We're not here to argue, Speaker. We're here to clarify." She lifted a small slate from her pocket, tapping it once. A holographic number flickered above it. 99,634,812. "We'd appreciate confirmation on whether this is the final tally." A hush fell so deep it seemed to absorb sound. "You came to verify the count?" the speaker asked, confused. "After such loss, your people choose data collection?" Marcus smiled, and something in that small shift made several alien delegates stiffen instinctively. "We like accuracy. It helps with planning." The word planning took on an ominous weight. Several delegates exchanged glances. A few tentacles twitched. A reptilian general quietly swallowed. A bulky, horn-bracken commander scoffed loudly. "Humans always plan. You planned your colonization. You planned your expansion. And now you plan your tears." He leaned forward with a mocking sneer. "Grief is the only strategy you have left." Marcus nodded as if deeply considering the point. "You're right. Humans grieve remarkably well." He paused, letting the silence sharpen. "But we do something else even better." Aurora finished for him, her voice barely above a whisper. We adapt. The Seraphiel diplomat bristled, confused. Adapt? To annihilation? Oh yes, Aurora replied with startling calmness. History proves it. We're extremely consistent at rising from ashes. Great at making ashes too, if we're being honest. The alien council began shifting in their seats. Marcus's wristcom chimed. He glanced down briefly, then folded his hands behind his back. We appreciate your hospitality. Truly. Earth wants peace. His tone was so sincere that some delegates relaxed, until he added, especially right before we decide how to respond. A Zelkan admiral slammed a clawed hand onto the table. Respond? With what? Your fleets are scattered. Your colonies are dust. Your armies are insignificant compared to the Concord. Marcus raised a calming hand. Absolutely. We understand our limitations. Aurora's eyes glimmered with something too sharp to be kindness. But limitations make humans creative. A murmur rolled through the chamber. The speaker attempted to regain control. Earth has no standing to issue threats. Aurora smiled sweetly. We didn't threaten you. Marcus nodded. We're simply collecting information. You did the event. We're just doing the math. If the alien council had possessed human hearts, more than one would have skipped a beat. A long, uncomfortable moment passed before the speaker finally asked, then what does Earth request? Marcus looked around the towering chamber, at the polished walls, the war banners, the smug faces. He exhaled softly. A tour. A tour? Repeated the speaker. Aurora nodded as if discussing weekend plans. Your flagship. Your command hubs. Your defense grid. We'd love to understand how your systems function. Professional curiosity. The Bracken commander erupted. Absolutely not. You think us fools? Humans are unpredictable. Dangerous. Erratic. Marcus tilted his head. You killed 99 million of us and are worried we're dangerous? A ripple of shifting, scraping discomfort swept through the delegates. Finally, the speaker conceded. A limited tour may be arranged, for transparency. But only under strict supervision. Marcus placed something on the council table. A small, round device with a blinking blue light. It pulsed slowly, casting rhythmic glimmers across the silver surfaces. Thank you, he said, stepping back. This will help us stay oriented. Aurora's smile widened just a fraction, a glint of triumph hidden behind her serenity. Several delegates eyed the object warily. What is that? Demanded an insectoid general. Marcus shrugged lightly. A tool. Nothing explosive. Nothing harmful. Think of it as a guide. The blinking light continued its steady rhythm, calm and patient. Just like humanity. Aurora looked around the chamber, her gentle voice carrying like winter wind. We appreciate the cooperation. Truly. This will make the next steps much easier. Next steps? Croaked a delegate. Marcus tapped the device once, and every alien present felt a chill. Deep, instinctive, primal. He smiled. Oh, you'll understand soon. The device blinked again. And the room suddenly felt far too small. Legends are strange things in the galaxy. They grow in the dark corners of frightened memories, whispered by soldiers who survived too narrowly and diplomats who witnessed too much. After the human delegation exited the council chamber, those legends spread again. Quiet, desperate, almost superstitious. The alien delegates pretended professionalism, but beneath their polished armor and ceremonial robes lay something older than politics. Fear. The kind that tingles beneath the skin, and makes prey animals listen for the crack of a twig. The kind that reminded them that humans, for all their softness, had survived more catastrophes than any species in known history. In a dim, crystalline chamber adjacent to the council floor, a cluster of alien generals huddled around a holotable. The translucent light painted their faces with anxious blue shadows. A Zelkan war tactician clacked his mandibles in agitation. We need clarification, he hissed. Are these two, Marcus Hale and Aurora Wynne, the same from the files? The ones referenced in the Red Nebula logs? A serpentine Lithorian wrapped her coils tighter, scales rattling. If they are, then we may have already crossed a point of no return. Her forked tongue flicked nervously at the blinking blue dot on the map, the very device the humans left behind. Legends rarely exaggerate. And the ones about these two are almost entirely warnings. The room dimmed further as another hologram activated. A record from a distant skirmish appeared. A grainy image of Marcus standing calmly amid falling debris, speaking into a mic while enemy ships erupted behind him. He had convinced 3 hostile factions to fire upon each other using only diplomatic phrasing, subtle misdirection, and a tone of sincere disappointment. The event was now studied in alien war academies, not as a victory, but as a cautionary tale. The danger of underestimating a human who smiled. Aurora's archive footage appeared next. She walked alone into an enemy outpost disguised in an ill-fitting janitorial uniform, carrying nothing but a mop. 2 hours later, the entire base went dark, locked down from the inside, and delivered to the human fleet neatly packaged, with every weapon disabled but not a single casualty inflicted. The aliens in the chamber whispered reverently. Some species prayed. Others stared blankly at the image of the polite woman who had dismantled an army with cleaning supplies. Outside the chamber, Marcus and Aurora followed an escort of armored guards through a long corridor lined with prismatic glass. Aurora's gaze traveled across the alien architecture, absorbing detail the way artists study brushstrokes, quietly, deeply, with an almost unnerving precision. Marcus walked beside her with an ease that looked effortless but was anything but. His shoulders were relaxed, his hands folded behind his back. Yet he noticed every vent, every weak weld, every blind camera angle. Aurora leaned closer just enough for her whisper to be heard only by him. "They're terrified," she murmured. "It's almost adorable." "Fear improves cooperation," Marcus replied softly. "Panic, though. Panic complicates things." "Then we should keep them balanced," Aurora said, eyes tracing the guard stances. "Scared enough to obey. Calm enough not to shoot." One guard flinched, as though sensing her attention. The humans did not comment. They didn't need to. The hallway itself seemed to react to their presence. Lights flickering slightly, ventilation humming louder, footsteps echoing with exaggerated clarity. Even the silence took on a new tension, the kind that stiffened alien spines. At the end of the corridor, the escort brought them into a circular observation room. A panoramic window revealed the massive alien flagship hovering in orbit, its engines glowing like captured suns. Below, the planet's surface glittered with sprawling cities and defensive fortresses. Aurora stepped toward the glass and tilted her head, studying the layout. "Your defense grid is beautiful," she said kindly. The guard captain blinked in confusion. "You find it aesthetically pleasing?" "Oh yes," she replied. "Symmetrical. Predictable. Very useful for planning." Predictable was not a compliment, but the guard only realized this after a beat too long. He shifted nervously. Marcus approached the window next to her, voice calm as morning coffee. "Your orbital weapons are impressive," he said. "Long range, high output, stable power channeling. You've invested heavily in outward-facing shields." The captain straightened proudly. "We take protection seriously." Marcus nodded. "Protection is valuable. But it's curious you invested so much in shielding the outside." He paused, letting silence fill the space. "It leaves the inside vulnerable." The captain swallowed hard. "Inside? Vulnerable how?" Aurora smiled gently, as if consoling a child. "You left a direct power relay exposed from the central reactor to your shield generators. If someone accessed the relay junction and reversed the current, it would overload the system." The captain stiffened, eyes widening. "How do you?" "Your schematic is visible from orbit," Aurora said, tapping the glass. "You really should blur sensitive infrastructure." Marcus added, "Human children hide their Wi-Fi password better than this." The captain's skin flushed a shade his species displayed only during existential dread. Behind them, the doors slid open with a soft chime, and 3 alien council members entered. Each tried and failed. not to look at the blinking device Marcus had placed earlier. It sat now on a pedestal in the center of the observation room, pulsing like a quiet heartbeat. "Representatives of Earth," the councilwoman began, her luminous eyes unsteady. "Our species would like to continue diplomatic transparency. We hope your observations do not indicate hostility." "No hostility," Marcus assured, still watching the flagship. "Just curiosity. Humans are naturally inquisitive." Aurora clasped her hands behind her back, posture calm, voice sweet. "And we appreciate your detailed security choices. They help us feel oriented." One councilman cleared his throat, a sound like stones grinding underwater. "We have reviewed your military history," he admitted quietly. "There are concerning patterns." Aurora turned her head slightly. "Patterns?" "Yes," he said. "Survival at any cost. Strategic unpredictability. High intelligence under pressure. And an alarming ability to restructure entire wars with minimal resources." Marcus offered a polite smile. "We do enjoy efficiency." Another council member spoke shakily. "Some among us fear you intend retaliation." "Retaliation?" Aurora echoed, sounding genuinely puzzled. "For what?" The council stared at her. She blinked innocently. "Oh, the 99 million. Right. Yes. A tragedy." Marcus stepped forward, his voice softening to a conversational ease that somehow felt more dangerous than anger. "Humans don't retaliate blindly. We calculate. We consider long-term consequences. We choose actions that reshape the board, not just the last move." The councilwoman's glow dimmed. "And what board do you believe you're reshaping now?" Marcus tapped the window pane lightly, letting the sound resonate. "Your empire," he said simply. A tremor of alarm rippled among the council members. The captain of the guard instinctively reached for his weapon, then remembered his own orders and stopped halfway. Aurora walked toward the blinking device, each step deliberate, serene. She knelt beside it and traced a fingertip along its smooth surface. "This little beacon has been very busy," she said softly. "Carrying signals. Sharing information. Opening doors." The councilman's voice cracked. "Doors to what?" Aurora looked up, her smile warm but her eyes cold as deep space. "To us." The device pulsed brighter, once, twice, a steady crescendo. Below the observation deck, the alien flagship's lights flickered. Marcus clasped his hands behind his back, posture relaxed, voice gentle. "I hope your evacuation protocols function better than your shields." The council stared at the glowing device, as though it were the mouth of a beast awakening. Aurora rose slowly, her shadow stretching long across the floor. "It's time," she whispered. And the beacon blinked again. The alien flagship was a cathedral of steel and starlight, its corridors carved with the precision of an empire that believed itself untouchable. As Marcus and Aurora stepped aboard, escorted by an uneasy entourage of armored guards, every surface seemed to tighten. Lights dimmed by a fraction. Air vents hummed with nervous rhythm. Footsteps echoed with too much awareness. The ship itself felt alive, and afraid. Aurora took in the surroundings with quiet wonder, her gaze drifting along the curved metallic walls etched with alien script. "Beautiful," she murmured, running a fingertip along a shimmering conduit line. "They really don't hide anything, do they?" Marcus gave a soft hum of agreement. "Transparency is admirable," he said, "though rarely strategic." The guard captain stiffened. His species had 4 eyes, but somehow all of them managed to glare at once. "You will not tamper with anything," he warned. Aurora smiled politely. "Oh, we wouldn't dream of it. We just like observing." They moved through the first hallway, its floor panels glowing under their steps. Aliens patrolling the area attempted to maintain composure, but couldn't stop themselves from glancing at the humans with thinly veiled panic. Some whispered urgently in languages that Marcus understood more than they realized. Others simply stepped aside as if proximity to humans risked spontaneous combustion. "What exactly are we showing you?" the captain asked, failing to keep suspicion out of his voice. "Your strengths," Marcus answered warmly. It helps us understand your philosophy, Aurora added, and weaknesses. But mostly philosophy. They reached the main engineering deck, a vast chamber thrumming with pulsing blue reactors, power lines braided like glowing vines, and workers scrambling with tools. The energy core sat at the room's center, a swirling sphere of plasma contained by shimmering force rings. The guard stood taller, proud of the technological marvel. Marcus examined the reactor like a sommelier evaluating a fine wine. Your power distribution is centralized, he observed. Bold. Risky. One malfunction and the entire ship would black out. The engineer overseeing the core choked on his own breath. That's classified knowledge. Is it? Marcus asked, tilting his head with genuine curiosity. Aurora circled the core slowly, eyes shining. And these stabilizers are within arm's reach. Fascinating placement. Humans usually bury such components deep inside reinforced compartments. We believe in efficiency, the engineer sputtered. We believe in survival, Marcus replied, voice soft as silk. They continued the tour, each step peeling back another layer of alien discomfort. A weapons bay revealed racks of plasma rifles calibrated with admirable precision. Aurora picked one up, testing its weight before setting it down gently. Well balanced, she said. A little delicate, though. If someone applied enough torque. The weapons officer yelped and snatched the rifle away. Marcus offered a sympathetic look. She's very good with fragile things. Weapons, too. Not far from the bay, a communications center buzzed with operators monitoring galactic channels. Screens flickered with maps, encrypted messages, and fleet diagrams. As soon as the humans entered, the chatter died. Aurora leaned over a console, studying a transmission log. Oh, your long-range encryption rotates every hour. She paused thoughtfully. Human toddlers change hiding spots more often. The communications chief paled, his species equivalent of sweat beading at his neck. You humans don't understand the complexity of. We do, Aurora said gently. That's why we win. The guard captain's patience thinned. You claim superiority with every observation. Marcus corrected him softly. We claim adaptability. There's a distinction. They were guided next to the ship's hangar, an enormous cavernous space where fighters rested like sleeping predators. Mechanics froze mid-wrench as the humans passed, staring with wide eyes. One dropped a tool. It clattered loudly, echoing through the hangar like a warning bell. Marcus inspected the nearest fighter, admiring its sleek wings and forward cannons. Impressive craftsmanship, he said genuinely. You wish to copy our design? The captain challenged. Copy? Marcus chuckled. No. Humans innovate by improvising. Aurora nodded. We would probably attach booster thrusters, reinforce the hull, and maybe paint something motivational on the side. The captain frowned. Motivational? Marcus smiled. Something like, if you can read this, you're already too close. Even several mechanics backed away. As they moved deeper into the ship, the corridors grew narrower, the lighting colder. Every guard's posture grew rigid, as though the presence of two calm humans threatened to destabilize the structural integrity of the ship itself. Aurora's footfalls became almost musical, echoing in steady rhythm, while Marcus's remained unhurried, purposeful. They were led to the command deck, a tiered chamber overlooking a sweeping view of space. Stars glittered against the black canvas, serene and unaware of the tension coiling inside the room. A massive holo display projected the Empire's fleet positions, triangular formations, neat and confident, surrounding key systems. Aurora approached it, eyes bright. Very organized, she said. Very predictable. One of the commanders bristled. Predictability is strength. Marcus stepped beside him. Predictability, he murmured, is convenience for your enemy. The alien stiffened. You imply you are that enemy. Marcus smiled politely. I'm stating a fact. A silent panic rippled through the room. The device Marcus had left behind in the council chamber continued its rhythmic pulse, its signal expanding, linking, guiding. The flagship sensors briefly flickered, unnoticed by most, but not by Aurora. She gazed at the stars as if greeting old friends. The captain cleared his throat, trying to reclaim control. Your tour is nearly complete. You have seen our strength, our unity, our systems. Does this satisfy your curiosity? Aurora folded her hands. Oh yes. More than you know. Marcus added. It's remarkable how much a single tour can reveal. A tremor ran through the ship. Lights dimmed, then flared again. The commanders exchanged alarmed glances. Power fluctuation, one muttered. Engineering will address it. Aurora tilted her head slightly. Is that what you think it was? The captain snapped his attention toward her. Explain. But Aurora remained silent, gaze drifting toward the panoramic window, where the darkness of space unfurled like a patient abyss. Marcus joined her, his reflection faint in the glass, his expression calm, too calm for a man aboard an enemy vessel. Far below, the planet's surface shimmered with clusters of lights. Orbiting satellites twinkled like metallic fireflies. Everything looked peaceful. Deceptively peaceful. Another tremor shook the deck, subtle but real. Marcus finally spoke, his voice barely louder than a breath. That wasn't engineering. Aurora's eyes narrowed, a glimmer of anticipation flickering beneath her serenity. It's starting. Starting? The captain demanded. What is starting? Aurora turned toward him, her voice soft, almost tender. The part where you realize the tour wasn't for our education. Marcus rested his hand lightly against the glass, watching the stars shift in unnatural patterns. Patterns only he and Aurora recognized. Patterns only humans could have orchestrated so quietly, so elegantly. It was for your awakening, he said. A final, deeper tremor rolled through the flagship, no longer ignorable. The lights flickered. The alarm stayed silent. The ship held its breath. And somewhere in the vast darkness outside, something enormous began to emerge. The thing emerging from the darkness was not a ship in the conventional sense. It was too silent, too smooth, too deliberate, like a shadow peeling itself from the void. The alien commanders rushed to the observation glass, eyes wide, voices breaking into overlapping panic. The structure grew as it drew closer, its obsidian hull absorbing starlight, its shape unreal in its elegance. A presence rather than a vessel. A whisper rather than a roar. Even before its outline fully formed, the aliens recognized the impossible. It was human. A dreadnought class the galaxy had never catalogued, never tracked, never even conceived. It drifted with a predator's grace, unbothered by the Empire's defenses. The alien flagship shuddered again, as though bowing to an apex it could not yet comprehend. The guard captain stumbled backward. How? When? What is that? Aurora stepped closer to the glass, her reflection merging with the dreadnought's looming silhouette. A promise, she said softly. Built in silence. Completed in grief. Delivered with precision. Marcus watched the alien crew scramble at their consoles. Your sensors didn't detect it, he explained calmly. It has no thermal bleed. No identifiable drive signature. It travels through a corridor we engineered ourselves. A corridor? The captain echoed. Between folds of space, Marcus clarified. A place your scanners don't know exists. The council commander's breath rattled. Impossible. Marcus offered a sympathetic smile. That's what you said when humans survived your first extermination attempt. Alarm lights finally snapped awake, staining the control deck in pulsing crimson waves. Technicians shouted coordinates, warned of gravitational disturbances, begged for clearance to mobilize defense grids. Their panic was a stark contrast to the humans standing still, composed, serene amidst the chaos. Aurora brushed a loose strand of hair behind her ear. You really should cancel your usual weapon protocols, she advised gently. Reacting aggressively might cause bigger problems. The captain slammed his fist against a console. Bigger than an unauthorized superweapon appearing in front of my flagship? Aurora nodded. Much. Outside, two more shapes materialized, sleek, angular, gliding like sharks circling wounded prey. The alien empire had believed humanity broken, scattered, mourning. But now, the very void seemed pregnant with their presence. A ripple spread across the stars, a silent declaration that Earth had never been unprepared. The Council's holographic window flickered to life, projecting the supreme overlord Zarvok. His features were distorted by static, his voice thick with concealed panic. "What have you done?" he demanded. "You were brought here to negotiate." Marcus raised a brow. "No. We were brought here to listen. And now you're hearing us. You humans do not have the capability for such monstrosities." Zarvok shouted. Aurora tilted her head thoughtfully. "Monstrosities? Oh no. These are humanitarian vessels." The captain stared at her like she had lost her mind. "Humanitarian?" Aurora gave him an almost motherly smile. "They prevent further loss of life by ensuring no one attempts genocide again." Marcus stepped forward. "Overlord, you killed 99 million of our citizens. Civilians. Children. Artists. Scientists. People whose names we carry in our breath." His voice softened, becoming terrifying in its quiet clarity. "We don't bring monstrosities. We bring memory. And consequences." The dreadnought outside shifted orientation. Its hull rippled, segments unlocking like petals blooming from a metallic flower. Lines of blue light traced across it in perfect synchronization with the pulsing beacon Marcus had left earlier. The Overlord froze. "What is it sinking to?" Aurora clasped her hands behind her back. "Everything you own." A gasp rippled across the command deck. Marcus continued. "Your central AIs. Your relay networks. Your shipyard inventories. That little beacon was a handshake protocol. Tiny, polite, almost invisible. And you welcomed it inside without question." Technicians scrambled, desperately attempting to sever connections, reroute systems, shut down access points. But every gesture came too late. The beacon had already mapped their entire empire. The dreadnought's lights brightened. Panels on its underside retracted, revealing a lattice of rotating rings generating a silent, ominous hum. The captain's voice shook. "What is it activating?" Marcus studied the device with the calm of a man watching a predictable storm. "The final word." The Overlord recoiled. "A weapon!" Aurora's smile faded, replaced with something colder. "A limiter." Before anyone could react, threads of blue light shot from the dreadnought, webbing across the flagship's hull. The ship convulsed, not from damage but from forced submission. All offensive systems shut down. Engines obeyed foreign commands. Autonomy unraveled like a fraying rope. One by one, icons representing other ships in the Empire's fleet flickered on the holo display. Entire battle groups froze in place. Weapon signatures vanished. Shield energy evaporated. The largest military organism in the galaxy became a silent constellation of powerless metal. The Overlord stared in horror as his empire knelt without a war being fought. "You're going to destroy us." Marcus sighed softly. "Destroy? No. That would be too temporary." Aurora stepped forward, voice gentle but merciless. "Destruction ends history. Lessons shape it." The dreadnought's rings spun faster, emitting a gravity pulse that resonated across the planet below. Factories shut down. Military databases wiped themselves clean. Propaganda channels dissolved into static. Every node tied to violence, expansion, or dominance went dark. "How long did you plan this?" The Overlord whispered. Marcus met his gaze. "Since the moment you assumed we wouldn't." Below them, the Empire's capital flickered with cascading power failures. Statues of conquerors sank into darkness. Training academies went silent. The planet dimmed like a dying ember. The captain trembled. "What do you want from us?" Aurora's eyes softened with something almost tender. "Understanding." Marcus rested a hand over his heart. "Accountability." "And," Aurora added, "the surrender of those responsible, unconditionally." The Overlord clenched his jaw. "And if we refuse?" Marcus took a step closer to the hologram, his voice lowering into something ancient and human. Then we teach the galaxy what happens when 99 million souls cry out at once. Silence swallowed the room. Outside, the human dreadnought drifted closer, casting a long shadow over the flagship. A reminder, a warning, a judgment. The Overlord trembled. "You wouldn't dare." Aurora whispered, "You dared first." The hologram flickered out. For a long moment, no one moved. The alien crew stood paralyzed, their empire collapsing in front of them with gentle, devastating precision. Finally, Marcus turned away from the window. "Prepare your council," he said to the captain. "Humanity will speak one final time, and this time the galaxy will listen." Another tremor rolled through the ship. Another shadow unfurled in the void. The dreadnought wasn't alone.